I could appreciate like oh that nigga was fine. Like every black gay boy and woman remembers that scene in the wood where they were all naked and shit. Like that was iconic and great. But if and when I saw Taye Diggs on the train with his white wife,
his white wife Adele Dazeem.
Yeah, Adele Dazeem. Well, they're not together no more, but still,
I know.
They. I was just looking at him like, yeah, no.
No, he looks like he works for IT.
He does. He looks like he just dates white women. Like he just has that look, and it's okay.
Yeah, he does.
Which
means he's not for me, because I like niggas.
I do want to point out that in this scene, as they were inching close to each other, did you all notice who started playing like on the soundtrack? Who was singing?
Mary?
It was Mary J. Blige. I said another Angela Mary connection. Peak 90s auntie, right? We had it in Waiting to Exhale. We had it in Waiting to Exhale with Not Gonna Cry and Bernadine. And here we are, again.
Mary J. Blige, beautiful. That's one of her better
connection.
Too.
And it was when they were fucking. They played that song too.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
And if you listen to the song, it's one of the more auntie songs. It's like if Way You had lyrics.
The movie opened up to some Way U.S. music.
It did. It did. I thought I wrote that down. I forgot. Their name is Soul to Soul. Whatever.
Oh, it was Soul to Soul.
Yeah, it was Soul to Soul. I saw that because of the closed captioning.
What was Soul to Soul's song? It was y'all know Soul to Soul's famous song.
Keep on moving,
I'm about to say, you better ask XD over here, music library.
Listen.
So they do it, and Mama is digmatized and glowing,
Yes, until jump cut scene, as Shar pointed out, they are now in some random lobby part of the hotel or something, and Winston tells Angela that he got a job, and she's like, okay, right, scammer behavior, because he's like, I got to start work in an hour. I have an interview in an hour, and I have to start today, and I work for the next several days. Red flag number 2.
Now, I will say it's probably quite possible for him to get hired that day and work as much as he was, because
but it was still a red flag.
And he also knew about it prior to laying down with me. You knew about this.
But also but here's the thing. This is the only time I ever really sympathized with him. I was like, I get it. Life happens, and he had to she got mad. Bitch, well, beautiful individual that creates haters, but bitch, you on vacation. I live here.
I gotta go to work.
That's when people come to visit you on vacation, like, oh, I'm coming to your city. It's like, okay, well, you have fun, girl. I gotta go to work. I just so happened to meet you. I just happened to stalk you. On top of
that, what I didn't understand in this is that it seems like in real life, anybody would have just been like, oh, that's just my island piece, and I'm about to go mind my business with Delilah, and we're about to get to be so emotionally invested that you get upset that this man now has a job and doesn't have time for you seemed unrealistic to me. Because I don't know anybody that would be that emotionally invested in a one-time little, we only had sex once and we've been courting for what, 2-3 days or whatever? Come on now.
Mama was sick over that poor skin, okay?
She sure
she could not help it.
She was. She got instantly pissed. I said, oh, the dick was good. It was good. It had to happen.
We learned later how good it was, but still, it's
comments.
Girl, he had to go to work. He needs a job. And first of all, if you would have ever want this to work out, you would want to support him working, because it's girl, get a job.
Right.
I mean, I think I might have been in a moment once or twice where it was so good I didn't want him to go to work.
Sure, we've all been like that, you're not gonna be that irrational.
But you gotta go to work. No, fuck you. You're not going to work.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love that the conversation that she and Delilah had afterwards. When Delilah was like, "Was it good?" This is again, auntie. Auntie,
yes,
was it good?
Very
and
sister.
Stella goes, better than that. And then Delilah says, return the man's phone calls. Like, here we are, we back on the same. Instead of in real life, Delilah would have been like, well, all right, bitch, let's turn up. Like, it wouldn't have been this emotional push to keep communication with this guy, especially if this guy is sucking up time for me and my homegirl. You know, as Delilah, I'd be like, okay, girl, well, let's push. Where's the next club? Where's the next event? You know, now that
they didn't even hardly hang out.
They didn't at all. They didn't even hardly hang out. And I mean, I guess I don't know. I've never fallen in love with Vacation, so I can't say now. Delilah,
this was
if I'm Delilah and I'm sick, we hanging out.
That's it. And you know, Delilah was much further along than they alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so while they're having this discussion, Delilah gets up and just looks, you know, at the pasture or whatever. And she's like, God is here. Foreshadowing.
Auntie. Auntie.
Which, you know, the entire movie I was watching, I said, well, this is just me and my homegirls when we go on vacation. I mean, minus the nigga. You know, I was like, this is me and my homegirls when we go on vacation. And if one of them just so happens to fuck, it would be the same conversation.
And there is going to be someone acknowledging that God is here. There's always going to be someone.
Always somebody.
One of my homegirls fucked the DJ at my wedding.
Okay,
I came home from the hotel and she fucked the DJ at my wedding. And I said, well, was it good? She was like, bitch, it was amazing.
And then you should have said, God is here.
God is here.
That's going to start being my response to everything. I'm throwing people off. God is here.
God is here.
So fast forward, Vacation, you know, she tries to go see or call Winston Shakespeare at his job, but he don't answer because the chef was like, I don't really know where that nigga is. Like, he might be at work. I don't know.
He's out preying on another woman at the resort now that you're back home.
Right. So Angela Bassett gets upset, and then she just leaves the hotel, and then cut to she's back home.
Emphasis on cut to she's back home. No transition.
To Angela sitting on the grass in a lawn chair reading What to Expect When You're Expecting. Was she that pregnant when she left?
Yeah.
I don't think we really got a chance to see. Like, they noted that she was pregnant, but remember, all we saw really was the spa scene where she was seated and they were kicking water on each other. So we really
I was like, did I forget something?
Right.
Okay, so she's
and then she also gets pregnant, but she gets pregnant again in the movie. So like, she's perennially pregnant. Like throughout the whole movie.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, because they mentioned it at the cookout scene.
Oh, you're right. They were having a second baby.
She arrives, and like you all mentioned, Angela is on the lawn. And this scene was hilarious to me. Baby sis Vanessa is always in some damn financial trouble. And she got in an accident in Stella's car while Stella was gone.
She also has as many one-liners as Delilah.
Yeah.
She came back, she was like, oh, I like your braids. You look like a real hoochie mama.
And I mean that in a good way. So they also... This is also something to note that they have like Tyler Perry movie styling with the hair because Regina King's like T-Boz. It was just so like, I get it. It was supposed to mimic the fact that she works really hard because it just wasn't. It just oof.
They didn't have like parts. So like if you noticed with Stella's braids, they did this weird crisscross thing over. It was like no part, and it was almost the same thing with Regina King. I said, they didn't have the same budget as Waiting to Excel.
And Suzanne Douglas, who played Angela, she stayed in one of those, like I said, a Whitney Houston-esque wig, like Whitney in character, Waiting to Excel.
You're right.
Preacher's Wife type wig.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, it was definitely a Preacher's Wife wig.
Yeah.
So
Stella is a better mood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember she was super uptight, and because now she got some D.
Oh yeah.
Right, because when Vanessa says that she got in an accident in Stella's car, Stella was like, "Okay, girl," and it's Tuesday or whatever,
and they was like, "And what's wrong with you?"
Right. I was like, "Wait a minute now.
Why are you not freaking out?" She was like, "How could?" And her sister was like, "How could you stoop so low?" And Regina King was like, "And how low did you go?"
I will say Stella should have fought
Mm-hmm.
Angela though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, a lot. If she wasn't pregnant, I feel like she might have.
Yeah, Angela was a terror. She was a terror.
She was definitely married to a white man. So then Stella goes to work.
Jump cut.
It's clear that there's jump cut to work, chaos and negativity. And she goes into Mr. Andrews' office.
Ooh,
and he white man's the hell out of her.
Trigger.
Lets her know that when I tell you she has no job, she's like, "Oh, but your job is safe though, right?" She's like, "But I'm the one. They had to let go of one person, so it's gonna be me, right? Even though I be bringing in numbers and shit, but cool. I got you."
Put out. And remember, she was the one, like we mentioned at the top of this, she was the one putting out small fires. Remember, she had her little headset on, and Mr. Andrews was harassing her to help him with the client while she's, just juggling everything on that phone. That pissed me off. Could you imagine coming back from vacation in a good mood and you find out that
that's what I said.
Oh my God.
But I did truly appreciate this because this was a scene that could have been today. Because instead of her sulking or being depressed or what have you, or they might have done in any other 90s movie, my bitch said, "Okay, bet. I'm about to file a hefty fucking lawsuit." And she took care of her business and she knew she was going to be okay. And she went home to her company. Started her own company, went home to her ancestor child and took that nigga on vacation. And his cousin.
Yes.
She definitely did have an ancestor child.
That child made her grits. I see. She got laid off and my man's made her grits and pancakes. And I was like,
we love it.
An ancestor.
We love it.
Right. We love to see it. A young kid.
She got fired and she's had enough money saved up and found herself back in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. Well, you missed a part because they were in that driveway. And Winston called. Remember, she was stretching, getting ready for a run. Mm-hmm. And then her son answered the phone. And he was like, "It's some guy named Winston. And he has a funny accent." Then she ran her ass over there to that phone and got to chit-chatting.
And did not care who was around.
And did not.
She said, I'm going to sit down on this garage floor and be on this phone.
Mm-hmm. She was very Dre about it.
Winston says he wants to come to the States, but he won't have time off for the next 3 months. And that's when she decided.
Wait, Shar, he didn't even say time off. My man said, "I'm not going to have sick leave for another 3 months."
Right. Sick leave.
Bitch, how bad of a cold are you going to have to go to San Francisco? My nigga, like, what?
And that was when I was like, "Oh, this is 90 Day Fiance."
Yeah.
Yeah. Red flag number 3. So she said she's gonna come back, and this nigga starts asking her for sneakers and
Snickers.
No, he asked her for like the general like if you have family overseas or whatever, like the traditional like overseas family starter pack, like you give them like.
Now you know what
cereals.
I called it? I called it the Drea Mom snack pack.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Because he asked for everything.
Or Boosie. Or Boosie. Remember that picture he took of his pantry?
Oh my
Nothing but red food coloring number 5.
Nothing fresh.
Nothing but blue number 7.
But he's dead, so we have to mourn him.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So so they go to Jamaica and she takes her child and his cousin. And Winston comes over.
Which was so relatable. I felt like the cousin relationship was so relatable.
Very much so.
I felt myself back in the 90s with that. Yeah, it was so like their interactions and stuff.
Like growing up without a sibling there, and like you have your cousin who acts just like your sibling, and And his cousin was Regina King's cousin, so she was obviously gonna be hood too.
Yeah,
Probably gay.
It was it was a set of ancestor children, honestly, because the little girl saw Taye Diggs and she was like, well, he's fine. So she did a good job.
Yeah,
And I noticed that Angela never had a real conversation with her son. Angela, Stella, you see how confusing this is.
Especially when there's a character named Angela.
She never had a conversation with her son.
Nope.
About who this nigga was. He just showed up to the crib because the little boy was like, well, I guess that's her new boyfriend. That's why we came out here. So she never had a conversation with him. But they are just canoodling. She's holding hands. She's not trying to hide nothing or whatever. And then Winston, strips down to his Speedos and jumps in the pool with the kids.
And that's when they become friends, because remember, her son was kind of feeling uneasy until Winston got in that pool and started saying, Marco. And then it's like, Polo, everything's good. Now we're friends, and I love Winston.
Oh, wait, I forgot. But when he came, hold on. Yes, that's how I knew they were ancestor children, because her son, he walked in and her son goes, he's not quite 30.
Yeah, not quite 30.
I said, look at XD as a
That was a very mean lie. Very mean.
He's not quite 30. So they playing around, they playing Marco Polo and his Speedo. And then Stella and Winston go to the bar. This was pretty sick.
I want to know if y'all, it was not only sick, but before we get into the sickness of it, I want to know if you two caught what I caught about the bartender, because it irked the hell out of me.
What, that she was hitting, what, about the mother thing?
No, go back and watch. She only had lipstick on the bottom.
Yes.
It drove me nuts.
She only had lipstick on her bottom lip.
Jade, she had a dry, natural, nothing on the top lip, but the bottom was lined with brown and had like this reddish, copperish, just lipstick on the bottom. I said, I can't watch this.
If she was a local, it fit.
Yeah.
Stop!
No, you need to go back and look at this.
Every
Jade.
girl I dance Hall Queen didn't have a whole lip either, if you want to talk about it.
You got to look at the lip and Terry McMillan's ex-husband at the beginning.
That's why I'm like, I have notes here. I have to go back and watch clips. So she's being a bitch and alluding to the fact that that's his mother, their mother and son duo. And this is where it gets sick, because these niggas are like, yeah, we mother and son. They play along for a while. Then you want to show her how much we missed each other, and they start making out. And I was like, that is nasty. I would never play along with this scenario.
Yeah. And Renee from Jeanne was upset. She was like,
in fairness, the way that these actors are, so Angela Bassett and Taye Diggs, in fairness, if I saw them walking down the street, I wouldn't assume mother-son. So the fact that they kept bringing that up and these actors didn't look like they had this vast 20-year age gap between them, to me, I was like, okay, this is getting annoying, because maybe Terry McMillan and Jonathan looked obviously, not quote unquote age appropriate, but Angela and Taye Diggs did not. It wasn't anything that would give me a second look about anything. Like, I'd be like, okay.
She looked really good, and I'm not gonna say for 40 because I hate that. Actually, like, you look so good for 40. Mm-hmm. She looked really good, period. And Taye Diggs has had the hairline of a 40-year-old man. So
I didn't factor that in.
And the sandals. So I would have never assumed that was her son.
Right. They're only 13 years apart.
Oh, in real life?
Mm-hmm. I had to look. I was like, I don't get the look thing. The mother-son thing, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, they make out, they get nasty. And then Winston quits his job. And which is red flag number 7.
Wait, did he really? I missed that. He quit his job.
Oh yeah, he quit his job.
That's how he was there with her. Because I was wondering, I was like, so how long is this sick time, and how long are her vacations? They just seem so long.
Especially to be freshly unemployed. Like, her savings account had to be busting, because she got 3 mouths to feed in total, and we're back in Jamaica vacationing.
Well,
And
so
they
when
weren't staying at no Holiday Inn either.
Oh no.
No, they weren't. No, baby. And it
All
also was not a
inclusive.
Sandals. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it was
Sandals
It
either.
was not.
It was better. It was a villa. They were in a villa. So, but she had money though, because if we go to like fast forward a little bit and then we'll come back, the salary they offered her, like I understand that was at $275. So I understand that was an increase from what she was making, but it was also very apparent that she was nowhere near broke. So she had money, and she's
and that's a lot today. So you can imagine in '98, like she was bagging it.
That's exactly what I thought. So I was like, she got money. Like she's good to take her kid on vacation. She's good to have to up and fly to New York, which is where we are. So, oh no, not yet.
Because they get back to the and she got the Post-it note envelope thing on the door, right?
She got the Post-it note envelope thing, but remember, she goes to meet the parents, and she doesn't know she's going to meet the parents.
That hasn't happened yet, Jade. I have it in order.
Really? Hold on.
Yeah, it's the bartender with the lipstick, and then
you're
the
right.
next line that I have is D is in the hospital coughing.
Because they're on the phone, and she doesn't know that D is in the hospital.
Right.
You're right.
Right. Remember? She doesn't get the note just yet. She just calls. She's on the phone with Delilah, and this is when we find out Delilah's in the hospital. It doesn't say anything. We just don't say it. We just see her in the hospital. And my whole thing was like, Stella don't hear all them damn beeps and nurses and shit.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering when she was going to address them.
And I know that bill was sky high. What calling card did she have?
Yeah.
Because back then they had to pay for long distance, like MCI and shit like that.
And yes, MCI make me think of Bugaboo. And Delilah didn't even have that same zest or energy that she normally has. So I feel like any best friend would have been like, girl, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And it wouldn't have worked today with the way FaceTime is set up. What Delilah, that little stunt she pulled would not have worked today.
Never.
Because she catfished her illness. Like, you can't do that to people now.
Yeah.
She did. She didn't let her know. That's why she like swatted the nurse away, and she didn't want her to have any idea that she was in the hospital or she was any. And I knew by the way that they massaged her arm that she was also much further along than they ever said she was.
And we get the soft chords, the music playing in the background.
We still don't know exactly what's wrong with her at this point either. We just know that she's sickly.
Don't.
She had mentioned diabetes earlier in the movie, but not too sure. So
then we get the parents' house.
Yeah. So they on a road. They in like a little Isuzu type of, truck thing. And a Jeep kind of thing. And they roll up to this vast, expansive, palatial grounds.
Zamunda-esque. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. It was just like
it looked like Prince Jeffrey Joffrey's lair. I was like, oh, okay, they got money. And so Colonel Washington and Cora come out.
Oh my gosh. First of all, hold on, because how pissed would y'all have been if you would have been in Stella's shoes? She was under the impression that they were going to a restaurant, and he surprised her with his parents' house. I would have been livid.
I'm
on vacation, my nigga. I mean, down.
What makes you think that she wanted to meet your parents anyway?
Exactly. Well, look at how emotionally invested she was. So that was maybe a safe assumption on his end.
Like, I don't know. Maybe that's like
I meet your son, you meet my parents.
I mean, they did jump right. I thought about that.
That's an even trade-off.
Ain't nobody jumping in with my kid. It is an even trade-off. Like my child.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm taking my child to your home, and she brought her son to his place, like integrated him into the life.
Oh, you're talking about even the island?
Fact, like just there, to his home, and even you letting this man swim with your child and play, and it was very stepdaddy and zero to 100. Like it was super fast. So the kids go, and Colonel Washington and Cora show. Yo, that Cora took that, because I did not remember that Cora took me out.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
I
Mama from Women Abusive Place.
Mama wasn't playing
so she sure wasn't. She hated everything about this situation, looked her up and down. Go ahead, XD.
No, you're right. Keep going.
Looked her up and down, told her she need to be ashamed of herself.
Ashamed. My favorite
I was
part
like,
of this is when they were setting the table and she says, did I freeze? Did I freeze?
No,
okay.
No.
My favorite part of this is, because I wrote it down in direct quotes, she said, I could beat around the bush, but it's not my style. And she goes into, she did, because Stella is 40 and mom reveals I'm 41. 41. Oh my God. Like literally talk about your skin leaving your body. Like,
it would. I'd be like, well, bitch, we can be friends.
Right, like it's creepy and weird.
It's very awkward. It's very awkward.
And that's my baby.
Especially when you don't know. You have no idea that's where you going.
And you know what I also noticed is that the mom was like, Winston is my baby. I hope no one gets offended by my accent. And so Stella counteracts that with saying that Winston is grown. In that moment, I thought, now Stella, would you keep that same energy if little whatever his name is brought home a woman that was a year younger than you? No, based on what we've seen from your character, you would lose your shit.
Even after you fell in love with this nigga, you would still lose your shit. So you need to have a look. But she was humiliated. Like, she couldn't even buck up or say anything. She was just embarrassed.
She had to eat it.
Dad was loving it.
He had to. He was.
Dad didn't see an issue. He's like, welcome,
He was
Stella.
into it. He was into it.
She fine. So he's like, good job, Winston Shakespeare. So they have an argument by the water of this on these grounds, and she tries to shame him. That's when she tries to age shame him, and told him it was an immature move for him to bring her there without. I mean, it was a little bit of a low blow, because the first thing you go to when you get mad is my age. We can't be if that's gonna be the case.
Right. You're gonna have to deal with that head on right here, right now. Otherwise, we're never gonna work this.
But you all look at his mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, yes, but I feel like his mistakes are in direct relation to his age.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Like in direct relation to his age.
Yes, but I will not. But there are some people who jump the gun on that parent thing too. Because they're especially in Black dynamics, because Black families are so like just a part of who we are as a people. Like it ain't nothing to go to like, oh, I'm over at my mama's house, come over here, like it's not like some people think meeting the parents has way more weight than other people think it. Like they just think like, oh, it's just those people that my family is important, you should be a part, as opposed to just like, if I meet you, this is it. Like normal people.
No, it's true. Or everybody got that one cousin who always has somebody new with them all the time, and they always think that they're the girlfriend. They always think they're the girlfriend, and you just treat them and laugh like they're the girlfriend, and be like, "Well, bitch, it was nice to meet you. I'll never see you again."
Yeah, you give them a plate.
I know. I hate when that happens, especially when I take to people easily. If I'm having a good time with you, it's like, damn, I know I'm not gonna see you. I see you Memorial Day, but I know I ain't gonna see you 4th of July. I know I ain't gonna see you Labor Day. We don't need to follow each other.
My cousin is a hoe.
We don't need to follow each other. We really don't.
Y'all not gonna last, but we had a good time.
Let's just
take
kick
my
it
number.
Here. You're right. Let's just kick it here. We really don't need. Instagram is not necessary. Let's just woo.
Ooh, do you know how many girlfriends and whatnot have followed me, and I just be like, baby I
girl.
can't follow
so
you
many
because we getting too close.
Because then you're gonna be like all these other people like, well, you see your cousins with him, how you know her? Child, leave me alone.
That's it. So then, Winston, she's pissed. Winston tells her she's overreacting, which you never tell a woman. And then he does hit her with the okie doke because he says, I wasn't acting like a child last night. Oh, I was like, oh, all right, well, I can't argue with that.
She couldn't
jump
either.
Cut. She couldn't either. So jump cut to the they go back to the resort and they're fighting. They're in a fight, and she has a note on the door, and it's from Delilah's doctor to call
Dr.
her
Steinberg.
immediately. Dr. Stein, who sounded like a Dr. Steinberg. This nigga had no emotion, but then also it's revealed that he thought that she would have at least known that Delilah was sick. Oh, and in the hospital, but she had no clue. So he had to deliver the news that Delilah passed, and jump cut they on the plane on the way to New York. So, wait.
She didn't die yet.
She didn't die yet.
He just revealed that she had cancer.
That's right.
Right, but then the next scene is the funeral.
No, it's not. Remember, she gets to New York.
No, they're in the hospital, remember?
She gets to New York because she sees Delilah before she dies.
She does. And they put all that, they went up a step on Whoopi's foundation.
Yes, because now not only is it, she gave her like a pale face and a smoky face at the same time.
Yes.
Not just a smoky eye, but they gave her like a smoky lip too. Like, it was just smoke everywhere. It was just a lot of smoke.
It was, but it had a little shimmer in it as well. So they're reminiscing and listening to Marvin and dancing, and it's very awkward because it's apparent that this is gonna be their last time together. And she starts declining very rapidly. It's a very sad scene. I actually got a little emotional. I'm not gonna hold y'all, because I thought about it. I was like, one of my best friends last year was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she ended up beating it, had a double mastectomy, but she when she told me that, I had a moment where I was like, is this the stage where we're at in life, where like my homegirls or even myself start calling each other and telling us what our ailments are and so forth and so on, because she's not my first. So I thought about that, and it made me think about girlfriends and homegirls, and I was like, I'm knocking on 40. I'm not far from 40. You know what I'm saying? This is not very far. So it was a bit of an emotional scene, but I got my humor from Whoopi's makeup. So that's what kept me going. So they are reminiscing, and then Whoopi is not doing well, Delilah's not doing well, and then jump cut scene, they're at the funeral, at the church for the funeral.
A very nice church, packed,
beautiful,
wall to wall for Delilah. I thought in this funeral scene that, I'm gonna get this lady's name wrong, but Stella had the most Susan. What was the editor-in-chief of the Essence magazine? Where she had her collar, like that. It was just the way that the braids were styled with the little turban and like
with that band thing.
Yeah. It screamed Essence magazine 1998 to me.
The lady with the braids.
Yes. She was
I forget her name.
It's Susan something.
Yes, it did. It was very much that outfit. It was very 90s corporate. I always thought when I got older, I was going to be wearing pantsuits. That's how they presented life to me.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
Susan Taylor.
It was moving.
Susan Taylor.
Did she still have the braids?
Yeah.
Oh. See?
So, I'm not shooting myself in the foot for my future.
I felt like this was this is when like the movieism of this movie kicked back in. Because, like, what are the odds that just as Stella's getting up to say her remarks, out of the shadows,
Winston's shadow,
and it's like, how the fuck did he know where the thing was? This had to be a situation like, y'all both at the hotel, he's still getting ready, and she had to be there at a certain time.
Because I wanted to know how he got there, but then I figured I know Stella fit the bill. Like, he's not working.
And this is where my questions came, because it's like,
mom didn't pay for it.
Right, because I'm like, did he save all his money from being a sous chef? And I know how much you get paid from being a sous chef, and it's not much. So I'm like, did you save money? Like, were you hustling? What, did you scam other women at that damn hotel? Because you were in love with this?
Did you scam your parents to give you the money?
Right.
I don't know.
And he had cash, so I'm like, where did you like do you have a bank account? I don't know.
He stores his cash in one of them thick ass shoe soles. So he shows up to the funeral in the shadows, and she does this little smile and then goes on with her speech about Delilah, which was also very sad. And then they leave. Jump cut. He's like, he's like, so what time does our plane leave?
See,
and I was like, red flag number 10. Who said anything about buying you a ticket, nigga? Nobody.
You know what one of my friends said earlier today on the phone, told me, girl, sometimes red flags look like Six Flags. You know, so I feel like in certain instances, you might want to be on the front row of that roller coaster.
Consider that stolen.
Sometimes red flags look like
That's
Six
a
Flags.
Word.
Just the time of your life. Woo!
Stella, I might have to quote that on Getting Grown. I will give you all the credit.
Yes.
That's a word for your nerve.
A word. So I'm gonna parse through the rest of the movie because there's some parts that
too long. The notes got sparse for me. It wasn't really anything happening.
Yeah.
No, she came back. He met the family.
The cookout scene was funny because the family was like literally harassing them, and I'm like, everybody needs to take a break. Like everybody needs to back up because I would have asked the driver to reverse and let.
I would have left my kid there.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. And you could have left your kid there because Dr. Richard Weber was there. So I'm out.
Daddy was there. Dad's inside mom, but it seemed like they had a nice co-parenting relationship.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm not bringing my new nigga there with my old nigga there.
But they surprised her, remember? Because the son ran out and was like, Dad's here.
But see, they hadn't got out the car yet, though.
She knew
I still would have told driver to pull out.
Mm-hmm. She knew when she saw the barbecue smoke, because as soon as she saw the smoke, she was like, oh shit. She's like, these niggas came together to being black as fuck.
And who was the first one out the gate but baby sis? Being real.
Wait. I did put her lines in here though because she was so refreshingly black in that scene. She said, "Where is he? We want to meet him." Winston, you in there, baby?
Dude.
I was like, this is amazing. That, and when Angela was being Angela, she was being a bitch. She's going and she's going and she's going. And finally Regina goes, shut the fuck up, Angela.
Yes.
It was overdue.
And the granddaddy, he goes, amen.
It was overdue.
It was overdue. So those were two best scenes of the cookout, in my personal opinion.
Well, also, what I also didn't like, speaking to what XD said, how I'm not bringing my new nigga around my old nigga. Walter and Winston got to bond. You know, Stella had to turn around and say, break it up over there.
Kiki.
Right. Kiki over me.
Mm-mm.
No.
You don't know me like that, and you sure as hell don't know me like that.
And you don't have permission to do this.
You don't have the license.
You don't have
to do this shit.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
So fast.
I did appreciate that Dr. Richard Weber was not bad-mouthing her, though. I will say that.
Right.
I like the fact that he was, he was just talking straight, but he was like, but she is usually right. Like, he didn't badmouth her, and it seemed like they had a good relationship, but still. Y'all niggas ain't friends like that.
Isn't this the scene where, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, this is the scene where we meet Angela's white husband, right?
Yeah.
At this cookout. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, it all makes sense.
Because she was really ragging on Stella. That's why Vanessa had to say, girl, shut up. She was really like, I would have to tell my sister, I have one mother. Thank you. Have a blessed day. I have one mother. One.
I don't need to hear nothing else from you. Wait, was their mother in the picture?
She wasn't around.
I don't think
I'm guessing
there's no mention. And I feel like, because I read the book many, many years ago, I feel like her parents are they're dead. So it's just the three sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they go back to the crib. Winston gets the tour of his new house. By Quincy, Ancestor Quincy, and then Ancestor Quincy says stuff. He's like, I need to talk to you. We need to talk man to man. Like, we need to have a conversation, you and I.
This is what, an 11-year-old introducing this conversation? Like,
right, because the mother doesn't seem to be interested.
Mom, where are
Stella
you?
Drea Payne doesn't seem to be interested.
And even with Dr. Richard Weber, I'd be a little skeptical about who my child is around, who my son is around.
Hello.
We all need to have a conversation, you know?
You
like
picked this nigga up in Jamaica and brought him back? Exactly. And he's just at the cookout and we good and he's moving in with my son. It is not getting ready to go like this. Like, this was not normal. Very movie.
None of that is cool.
No, you've met this nigga twice in person. And you gonna bring him around my child? Absolutely not. So, fast forward, you know, they talk, they get, you know, they have a good relationship. They playing video games, doing all this, that, and the third. Stella's mourning Delilah. And then Winston, then they go to the movies. They have the movie scene.
My God.
Where the unfriendly black hotties walk up, and this is where the age thing starts coming up again.
The unfriendly black hotties came up.
And Angela was so dismissive. You know my sister Stella, and that's Winston. Or whatever.
Angela was a bitch. Yeah. And she treated them like trash because of the movie they went to go see. She shamed them. She did some old
Stella hated the movie, though. Again, this is a 20-year-old you're dating, honey. Everybody in the movie was cackling, and Stella was sitting there like,
Because it looked like the equivalent of a Madea movie, but from the 90s.
Yes, fair. Or scary movie.
I will say there's going to be some movies that you can't watch with a 20-year-old, like 40 and 20. Like, there's just some shit that we just not going to see it.
Right. A 40-year-old is not getting ready to go have a good time watching Pineapple Express. Like,
I will say though, it might be the other way around, because you know, younger people who try to date old, they'd be like, "I'm very mature for my age," and they'd be all like life draining, and they watch like silent films. They only listen to like stupid music like Nina Simone and shit because they want to feel like a butt or whatever. Oh my God.
Don't listen. XD
it's true. It's true. Uppity blacks love a damn Nina Simone.
I'm going.
Nigga, I like Nina Simone.
Okay, and that's
what's
fine.
What's wrong, Miss Simone?
OTEP niggas love Nina Simone too.
Yeah.
He hates Nina Simone.
I like Four Women. I like the Four Women song.
Mm-hmm.
I love Nina Simone.
What did you say, XD?
My name is Peaches.
Yes, that's the finale of it. Yeah. And I put a spell on you.
I put a spell on you.
Nina Simone was our first NDRE.
And Stop! Mississippi got down. Oh yes, you and India.
I'm telling you, she's the first NDRE. Anyway. The point is,
please, I'm not dealing with
a 40-year-old might be more into Pineapple Express than some like The Notebook / The Hours / whatever existential ass movie.
Yeah,
this is fair.
Because my favorite movie in my early 20s was The Hours. Now it's like not another teen movie, or like and I'm closer to 40 now, so it's like, nah.
I'd be like, well, let's watch Bridesmaids again.
Yeah, cut on backs.
That's a good one. All I'm hearing is hits. Is hits.
Yeah. Like, this is what we're saying. This is, the counter to my point. My point is dismissed now. So because we do like some goofy ass movies. Go truncate the rest.
Yeah, because the rest of the movie wasn't that good. So there's a couple things that you want to highlight.
I liked the dinner argument when she went.
That's what I was going to. That's what I was cutting through.
Renting booty call in the Lion King.
Right. So they go to the waterfront. Now, I've eaten at the waterfront. It's a fabulous restaurant on the Embarcadero.
Oh, is it? Food's delicious?
Absolutely. It's fabulous. Okay. Right on the water. And I guess it might be some month-anniversary meal or something, because they're out and about. And so the check comes, and Taye Diggs picks up the bill. He does that, Yeah, every black person picks up a bill and does the same thing, like, oh, woo, shit. And
is it one of those? Like, is it one of those restaurants? Because I know we have some restaurants that are so fancy here in Los Angeles that there's no price attached to what the item that you're ordering. I don't frequent those spots.
It's like it's a seafood place, so it's like
everything's market price.
Everything's marketplace, and it's right on, like, it's on the waterfront. It's literally on the water. Ooh. So you're not. It's no less than 50, 60 a plate.
Okay, so it's like a STK.
Yeah, it might be more now, but like, or less now, I should say. But it's about a little bit more than STK, but on par.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
because it's also seafood, so it's like market price, whatever.
Right.
You know.
That's true. That's fair, because I know we went to STK. It's been about $500 for two of us. You know, after getting everything. Yeah, cocktails.
Yeah, but it's easy to do that for just two people at the waterfront. I want to say it's a Michelin. Okay. It's like a 2 Michelin star.
Oh, that's why that nigga looked at the bill like that. Plus, he had no money. Right. So he looks at the bill and he says he's gonna pay it. He takes care of it. He pulls the money out of the sole of his shoe. And Stella's like, you don't have to do all of that. Like, I got it. Your girl's savings account is fat. Because also recall, she told Delilah when they were in the hospital, she was gonna take her on a $5,000 shopping spree. And she got out of the hospital. So she's not broke by any means. So she's like, I got it. Like, we don't even have to play this game. And they going back and forth. And we can tell it's some ego and some, it's a lot of things brewing there. And it's starting to be trouble in paradise.
Right. So, fast forward, because this is the scene. Right?
Yeah.
Where, so they fight, they go home.
My God.
Stella is in the bathroom brushing her teeth, and cut to Taye Diggs naked in the shower.
Now, this is always when my mother said, turn your head.
Yeah.
So I didn't experience this scene until later in life. Like, I was able to watch most of that whole movie. But when I specifically remember my mama saying multiple times, turn your head. That was the theme of my
black
childhood.
Mom thing to think. Either turn your head or close your eyes.
And I'd be like, can I turn back now? And she like, hold on. Right.
Big black mother.
So let me explain. This scene, they get it on in the shower. And it was supposed to be some makeup, sexting, to the point where they fuck it in the shower.
Awful. So awkward. And you're not, didn't he have her in the air? Like, he lifted, please. Not with all these suds and water.
No, then it'd be all slippery. You fall down, both of y'all bust your head wide open.
She could get her
don't let the nigga try to, she didn't need all that new growth.
Her summer rights was all exposed right here. So I don't know.
Look, I can't talk right now.
So we in the middle of a pandemic. That was a highly budgeted film.
That was true. That's exactly it. They had freedom to walk without masks, so she can go get her hair braided.
So they cut to them finally finishing, and when she climaxes, she has a tear in her eye and it streams down her left cheek.
Now,
that's how good they did it.
I would like to have what she's having. When I watched this for in preparation for what we're doing now, I was like, is this real or is this like dramatized for the show? Because I've never felt that level of ecstasy where I was moved to tears. And I would like to.
I share a child with this nigga, and I've not been moved to tears, and it's great. I'm not even saying anything negative. I just literally have never been compelled to cry.
I honestly don't know if I'd be able to handle that. I don't know if I'd be able to spiritually, if I'd be able to handle that. Because now we glued to the hip.
Right.
Where do you think you're going? There was a tear that came out. Like, what?
Nigga, what? We're bonded for life. That tear was super glue.
Yeah.
Wait, nigga, did you say with food you had?
Yeah. I've always argued that food is better than sex because food is the most consistent thing.
That is fair. I do enjoy food.
You've ever said.
Right, because
Very
I always liken sex to I always
much.
compare it to Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. It's the best vanilla ice cream you could ever buy that's store-bought, right? Out of the Basic Girls. You know it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be the same deliciousness every time. Sex isn't like that. Some days it's like real good. Some days it's just like, meh.
I could have had a
Some
VA.
days, right. Some days it's like, girl, we didn't need to
Sex
do this
is like
at
Chick-fil-A.
In what way? It's gonna put me
Homophobic?
in conversion camp?
It's not consistent. Like sometimes the chicken is really like the hate comes out in the chicken and it's very crispy and hot and delicious. The fries are hot and salted perfectly. The Polynesian sauce is hitting that day. And then other days it's like they don't sprinkle as much hate on the food and it's subpar, you know, your stomach's bothering you later on. You're reminded of the guilt of why you shouldn't have been eating Chick-fil-A in the first place. That's kind of sex.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
So, fast forward, he proposes to Stella, but he does not propose to Stella. He buys a ring and puts it on a drafting table and says, "Here."
But he fixes her whole workroom.
Yeah, but that's
like,
it. Okay, he needs to earn his keep. He's not working. What he contributed to the bills or the mortgage? Not a damn thing. The least he could do
you can't just be sitting around watching Booty Call and Lion King and playing video games and not contributing.
And eating Cocoa Puffs in her bed.
Right.
This is true. You need to be earning your keep. The lawn needs to never be past a certain length.
Right.
The gutter should always be
he's
cleared
ultimately
out.
a teenager. So like
earn your keep, nigga. That's all.
So,
finish up the rest. The movie was way too long.
It really was.
A lot of this, it was like jump cuts, and then we could have shaved a lot of this off.
We really could have. They had the airport job corps scene.
The airport
scene
with her in the red trench coat looking.
Okay, let's get to the real mess. Okay, so they end up together, they fall in love, they get married. So what happens in real life?
Let me close my notes.
Right.
So that's in real life. So they got divorced in 2005. They got married around the time the movie came out. Right? Mm-hmm. And the reason why they got divorced is because that nigga is a homosexual. And he willingly...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he admitted, like, nah, I typically kind of use her to get my green card.
In so many words. Words. Yeah. Right. Which was wild. Which makes me think, because I follow Terry McMillan on Twitter, and she seems like a very headstrong lady, to say the least. But it leads me to wonder if she had anyone, a sister, a cousin, a friend, pull her aside to be like, girl, you tripping. You know, and I'm saying in like direct opposition to a Delilah or to an Angela. Because Angela, her concerns were valid, but her delivery was messed up. So did she have someone to be like, sis, what exactly, like, let's pace ourselves, you know?
Probably,
they didn't
but
show
you know,
any
love
of her
is
other
blind,
friends.
though.
That is true. She only had one friend, and that was Delilah, who lived across the country.
And died.
And Delilah just wanted her friend happy.
Yeah.
So, regardless of what it looked like.
Based off of her own life circumstances.
Right.
Yeah. And in fairness, if I was in Delilah's shoes, I wouldn't have expected it to get this deep between Winston and Stella. Like,
nobody would have.
Yeah, do your thing. Fly him out. You fly out if you want to keep this going. But all of this emotional unpacking and love and pursuit and like, what? No.
And you marry this nigga and he comes back with you and you let him come to my funeral?
My whole problem, with the issue with them is this, like, you allowing this stranger around your kid. Like, that made me so uneasy. And I thought about, like, all the times where, like, my mother would date, you know, as a single mother, you know, she's allowed to date or whatever. And she did her best to like not have me introduced and be with all these other niggas, and I'm thankful for that. Like, I would also, in the back of my mind, when I would interact with him, like, I don't know this man. This person
it was very
harm me or my mother. I don't know this nigga like that. Ooh.
It was very like, this is your Uncle Winston. Like, it was very like, you know,
it was
get
too
familiar
eager.
real quick.
It read as desperate, and Stella didn't need to be desperate. She didn't need
Not
to
even
be.
a little bit.
And what we also should mention is that the guy that had called her and offered her, you know, let's go running together at the beginning of the movie is actually, he resurfaces. We see him, and we see him at the movie theater with her sister Angela. It was like a double date type thing. Because did you all notice the energy that his date was giving off to Angela? It was like, girl, ain't nobody this man. She like hugged
she was super insecure.
She was
like,
pressed.
She sure was.
She said, this is my judge, and I'm not going to let you take him.
Okay.
But he was also rude too.
Yeah, he was. Everybody was rude. I liked when Winston was like, we would love to go running. I like that energy.
Yeah.
I do too. Big nigga energy. Yeah. I like
it. Yeah, they're no longer together anymore. Terry became a little homophobic after that. She all right now.
She had to find her peace.
I understand why she was a little homophobic. Not saying it's okay. I just understood why.
Right.
And then that's why in the sequel to Waiting to Exhale, Getting to Happy is, you know, she addresses some of those pain things through the women in her book. So through Gloria and Savannah and Bernadine and all of them. So yeah, that was the movie. That was how Stella got her groove back. It was a very long movie about
no reason.
Yes, that was a cautionary tale not to just get married to some random stranger that you meet at Turks and Caicos.
Yeah. Because he might leave you to go to Sweaty Black Night. I don't know.
I hope the aunties are happy. I thought the performances were great. Despite the issues with the jump cuts and some of the directing, I thought the performances were pretty damn good.
Yeah, and
the accent was terrible though.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's notwithstanding. Like we understood that going in.
We knew what it was gonna be. It still wasn't worse than Angela Bassett's accent as Christopher Wallace's mother in
Notorious. I thought you were gonna say Maria Laveau.
That was the worst. No,
that was
that accent in Notorious was the worst accent I think I might have heard on TV.
So that was the end of Quarantine Blassics for this installment. Thank you, Shar.
Yay!
God is here.
God is here. God is here.
I will put, you can follow her anywhere and everywhere. Look around. There's a whole bunch of pop-ups, as you can see, as you've been noticing and all that good stuff. You can follow all her socials there. But thank you for joining us. We had such a good time.
Yes, Shar.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. I hope we can do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're always welcome back.
Thank you.
Bye, niggas.
All right. Bye, guys.